Multi-party talks face new difficulties. Unionists demand a guarantee on decommissioning. Beleaguered Mir is using up its 9 lives, but the crew are to stay in orbit. 5 Derry men jailed for possession of guns and a rocket launcher in County Donegal. And Darren Clarke is joint leader at the end of day 1 of the British Open. Good evening and welcome. The Ulster Unionists have told Tony Blair that proposals by the Irish and British governments for decommissioning paramilitary weapons are unacceptable. At a Downing Street meeting this afternoon, party leader David Trimble sought assurances from the Prime Minister that actual decommissioning would begin as soon as substantive negotiations opened in mid-September. However, government sources here told RTE News this evening that changes to the current proposals wouldn't be productive. Today, the British government published a letter of clarification sent to Sinn Féin's Martin McGuinness on the 9th of the month. Quoting from the Mitchell report, the letter states that the parties should consider an approach under which some decommissioning would take place during the process of all-party negotiations rather than before or after.
Next Wednesday, the participants at the multi-party talks at Stormont will have to decide whether or not to formally adopt the two governments' joint plan for decommissioning paramilitary weapons. But after the Ulster Unionists spent an hour and a quarter with the Prime Minister at Downing Street today, it was clear that they wouldn't be voting for the proposals in their present form. The sticking point is that the document does not explicitly say that parallel decommissioning means that IRA disarmament will occur from the moment Ulster Unionists sit down across the table from Sinn Féin.
It is absolutely essential from our point of view that there are clear commitments to actual disarmament that will be endorsed by the British government, the Irish government and all the parties to the negotiations, so that any party that joins will have to make a commitment to actual disarmament parallel to the negotiations. That's not presently there. It's absolutely essential that it is there.
But the Northern Ireland Secretary was holding out some hope of agreement.
Can I just say we had a useful, constructive discussion and we hope to make some progress by Wednesday of next week.
MOWLAM has been under pressure from the Unionists for continuing contacts between her officials and Sinn Féin. This is the letter they sent to Martin McGuinness earlier this month. It reiterates the Mitchell proposals for disposal of weapons in tandem with the continuing talks, but does not give the sort of detailed timetable now required by the Ulster Unionists. The Minister for Foreign Affairs will be in London tomorrow for talks with MOWLAM, but he's likely to resist any attempt to change the joint decommissioning proposals at this late stage and risk further isolating Sinn Féin. Downing Street says there will be further meetings between Mr Blair and the Ulster Unionists before Wednesday's crucial Stormont vote. David Trimble says they're not walking out of the multi-party talks as the DUP did yesterday, but the two governments will now have to engage in a delicate balancing act to keep them in.
And Brian O'Connell joins us now from London. Brian, how are today's demands likely to be viewed by the government here?
I don't think they're going to be welcomed by the government. Tomorrow will be the first opportunity for Ray Burke to discuss them with MOWLAM when he comes here to London. But people I've been talking to on the Irish government side tonight say that this is what this decommissioning plan is about mechanisms and not timetables. They say we're not in the business of putting dates on when actual decommissioning start. What David Trimble wants is that when the substantive talks start, 15th of September, he wants weapons to be handed over from the very day that it starts. The Irish government are going to be reluctant to agree to that, to put that into the document. They don't think it'll generate, in their words, generate consensus from the other parties, certainly not from Sinn Féin, so they don't want to amend it now. Of course, the risk is that the Ulster Unionists will not sign up to this next Wednesday.
Well, this is the point. Time is obviously very tight. I mean, realistically, is there any likelihood of movement on any side between now and then?
Well, both governments, people I've been talking to here in London as well, they talk about hurdles that can be overcome and this sort of thing. There is a certain amount of brinkmanship in this. There are 2 full days of plenary session of the talks at Stormont on Monday and Tuesday, so a lot can be achieved then as well
as at tomorrow's Anglo-Irish meeting here in London, so there is some prospect. We still have nearly a full week to get this sorted out, so all is not lost yet. David Trimble did say specifically that he would not be walking out of the talks between now and next week. He said we're going to try and stay in right up until the last moment till we try and get this thing sorted out.
Thank you, Brian. The crew of the Russian space station Mir, who have been struggling all day to keep it on course, have managed to restore a vital computer link with